Hello, I am Jacob. I'm the host of the show. Thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing, and just being a part of what we do here. So, we entered Thanksgiving thinking the NFC it's wide open, but a lot will get closed down within the next week or two. But every week, it's almost like there's a new team that emerges. That we're like, geez, where'd they come from? Like, for an example, the Dolphins, who we're going to talk about in a second. They've won 4 in a row. This was a team that was 1-7, and now it's 5-7. The NFL is so unpredictable. You think something is going to go one way, it goes the complete opposite, and yet it still gets to where it should go. So speaking about the Dolphins had claimed running back Philip Lindsay off waivers after he was released by the Houston Texans. So not a shocker, but not a part of the direction I would have gone as the general manager. I would have said, we need another big playmaker on defense. Our defense isn't very good. Potentially a wide receiver. Our wide receivers are banged up. But they decided to go and claim Philip Lindsay, which is fine. He's a good player. He's pretty consistent. He will pair well with Myles Gaskin. Alvin Kamara, when the Saints had played the Bills, was out. And also, here's the truth. We came into Thanksgiving thinking there's a chance that Mark Ingram's going to play. There's a chance that Kamara might play. Kamara didn't play. Mark Ingram didn't play, and the Saints had 14 starters were all out. They also we're talking about Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill signed a big contract extension in the offseason. He ended up just signing another one, a 4-year extension, anywhere worth between $40 million and $90 million, with $22.5 million guaranteed. So basically, this is a very unique deal according to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. They both said how this deal actually works is it's based off on if he's the backup, he will make $40 million as a backup. And I'm not sure how this will really work if it's $10 million per year, or is it $40 million on one shot? I think it's $10 million per year. But if he becomes the starter, which could indeed happen because Simeon's terrible, and they're not going to have Winston for the rest of the year, he could make anywhere up to $90 million. So that's a very interesting position, and as Schefter and Rappaport said, it's a very unique contract. It's all based on circumstance. So a lot of things are happening. I predict we'll see a lot of these new contracts in the future. If we're seeing a guy who's 4th or 5th wide receiver on this team, if he goes and makes it to the 3rd wide receiver, 2nd wide receiver, they'll make more money based on their contract. I could see that happening in the near future. The New York Giants made a move on their coaching staff after they fired former Dallas Cowboy head coach Jason Garrett. Now, according to reports, Joe Judge wanted to fire Jason Garrett last year. Here's the problem with the Giants. Since Joe Judge has been the coach, they fired 2 offensive line coaches, and now their offensive coordinator. There's a lot of issues with this Giants team. I think it starts with the top. I really do think it's under John Mara, but I think it's general manager, presidents, anyone that's on this team, they gotta be gone. The only way this works, you gotta fire everyone, including Judge. It doesn't work. They beat the Eagles, but they scored 13 points. Like, all you had to do was not let the Eagles score 14 points and you won the game. but not because they were good. It was just because no one else can do anything. So I think this whole staff has to be fired. And it's sad. It's very sad, but that's just the nature of the beast and the nature of the business. That I think you gotta, and I said this early on to myself, and I probably said it in a previous video, that if Joe Judge would have been fired during the season, I thought Jason Garrett would have been the interim head coach. He had the most experience, and he actually had done an interim role when he took over for Wade Phillips. Now he is fired, and I agree when Rap Sheet went on the Pat McAfee show. He said this: what Jason Garrett should have done is he should have taken the Mike McCarthy route. Who will talk about Mike McCarthy in another video. They should have taken the Mike McCarthy route, where he went. Yes, he got fired. However, take a year off. Take a year off. That way, you're in the next cycle, and people can be like, well, he waited a year. Let's see what he's got. And they throw you back into that fire. When you go and get a job right away, and it doesn't work out, now you're out of football for however long. So, it is disappointing that Jason Garrett got fired. However, I presume that he's only one. He's the scapegoat. There's a lot more problems above him. The Cowboys did, but at this point were planning to activate DeMarcus Lawrence. What happened was he was on the injured reserve list with the broken foot that he had surgery on. He was activated to the designate to return list. The plan is that he will play against the Saints this Thursday night. Andy Dalton did in fact start versus the Lions as Justin Fields was injured his ribs. They didn't find anything doing the x-rays and stuff, doing anything. So they ended up MRIing his spleen. There was no problems there. But when they did, they ended up doing another MRI. They found out he has little fractures in his ribs. It's only expected to take him out for a week or two, but Andy Dalton did play against the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. And in a surprising move, the Titans decided to waive running back Adrian Peterson, which I get it, but you do need someone that has experience that's going to at least control that narrative. With the Titans, their running back room is very thin. In my mind, you have to have a veteran that is able to come in and do his job. Zach Wilson ended up playing against the Texans because Joe Flacco and that White ended up both getting COVID. So Zach Wilson didn't play all that great, but they ended up getting the win versus the Houston Texans.